Look down. Look down the river. Please. It starts with a whisper, a cry in the reeds, a baby floating on the Nile. But what if I told you that child, so small, so fragile, was not just an actor, but Charlton Heston's real son? That's where the story of the Ten Commandments truly begins. Not in the palace of Pharaoh, but behind the scenes, where myth collided with reality in ways no one could have scripted. Released in 1956, The Ten Commandments wasn't just a movie, it was a cinematic earthquake, bigger than any epic before it. It captured miracles without CGI, parted seas without computers, and brought Egypt to life in a desert hundreds of miles from the Nile. But behind its godlike grandeur, chaos, danger, obsession. 1. Baby Moses was Heston's real son. Imagine the Nile's sunlight glinting off the water, a small basket drifting through reeds, the camera closing in on the face of an infant. That isn't just illusion. It was Fraser Clark Heston, Charlton Heston's own 3-month-old baby. The director, the crew, and Heston himself treated those shots with a tenderness you can feel even now. After every take, Charlton cradled his son, not just to reset for the next shot, but because each image weighed heavy with symbolism. The leader of the Hebrews, born in exile, salvaged by fate, and in this case, by his father's very arms. 2. Director Cecil B. DeMille nearly died on set. Picture a desert shoot, scorching sun, thousands of extras, burning sand, heat shimmering everywhere. High above that chaos, Cecil B. DeMille stands, 73 years old, his cape flapping or dust swirling in his boots, his megaphone in hand, overseeing every detail. Then, heart pain. He collapses on a 40-meter ladder, the crew gasping. The doctor orders him to stop, threatens that continuation might kill him. And yet, in classic DeMille fashion, he refuses. 2 days later, he's back in place, shouting commands, fine-tuning sets, enduring sweat and exhaustion. His resolve burned through more than one pair of boots. It set the entire production's tone. No retreat, no mercy, no excuse. 3. The Red Sea was made of gelatin. No CGI. No digital wizardry. To part the Red Sea, DeMille's team built 2 enormous water tanks. But water alone doesn't form walls. So they thicken it with gelatin to get viscosity, weight, movement that looks like water standing still when filmed in reverse. When shown forward, you'd think the sea rose. When reversed, it parted majestically. The waves held shape. Dust rose along the edges as if swept by wind. Dozens of rehearsals. Tests, water leaks, gusts of desert wind disrupting the surface. Ultimately, the effect became a spectacle filmed in less than 10 minutes, but crafted in 6 months of sweat, trial, and creative madness. 4. Disney animators created the divine effects. Think of the hand-painted flickers, the finger of God carving stone, fire that burns without consuming everything. That magic came from unexpected hands. Animators who had worked at Walt Disney Studios, even those who had helped on Fantasia. Brought in quietly by DeMille, they layered cells, used glowing paint, light panels, smoke, and multi-layer compositing. The burning bush doesn't just burst into flame. It pulses with heat and holy radiance. The glowing letters of God's commandments etch themselves in stone, looking for all the world like divine light rather than camera tricks. Their artistry gave the film its most transcendent moments. 5. A real cobra escaped during filming. In the scene where Moses' staff becomes a serpent, DeMille ordered a living king cobra. It was supposed to slither, strike a pose, the camera capturing its deadly elegance. But during one take, a misstep, a startled sound, it escaped. The cobra slid between lights, over cables, among extras frozen in place. The crew panicked. Props toppled. Extras screamed. For nearly an hour, people chased it, trying to coax it with sticks, rope, whatever they could find. Eventually, someone got it back in place. The shot resumed, but the memory of venom and fear lingered. It wasn't just symbolic danger. It was real. 6. A real human skull was hidden in the fog. That ghostly green mist creeping across palace floors, filling halls with dread. There was something chilling hidden in it. A real human skull, subtly embedded in the frame. You don't see it at first. You don't point it out consciously. But your mind does. Your gut does. The audience felt death itself breathing in the fog. Some film historians believe DeMille did it purposefully, to unnerve, to create a subliminal fear, something primal and inescapable. It's the kind of secret that makes people shake, long after the screen fades to black. 7. The Plague of Frogs was filmed, then erased forever. Hundreds of frogs. Live, jumping, croaking frogs everywhere. Throne rooms, corridors, palace floors. DeMille spared no detail. The stench, the slime, the chaos of amphibian invasion. But after editing and test screenings, it turned comedic. People laughed. The sacred turned absurd. DeMille, a master drama, couldn't keep it. He ordered the entire frog sequence removed. So what remains is memory, not the imagery. The visions that could have been. A missing puzzle piece in a mythical story. 8. Audrey Hepburn was rejected over a figure. Audrey Hepburn walked into the audition for Princess Nefertari radiant, graceful, enchanting. Price of beauty? DeMille wanted seduction, but in a body that could carry the weight of opulence. In his private notebook, lovely but not enough figure. The heavy, pearl-laden gowns, the beadwork, the costume demands, they needed volume, presence. So the role went to Anne Baxter. Even still, Hepburn's audition captivated those who saw it. Her rejection reveals as much about Hollywood's obsession with physical image as it does about DeMille's vision. 9. Yul Brynner secretly trained to outshine Heston. Standing 1.73 meters tall, Yul Brynner faced a towering co-star in Charlton Heston, 1.91 meters. But less height, more will. Behind closed doors, Brynner pushed himself. Weights, push-ups, pull-ups, physical regimens meant to build posture, presence, a regal bearing. On set, it showed. Broad shoulders under the cloak, puffed chest in confrontation, muscles tense in Pharaoh's rage. It wasn't vanity, it was necessity. To be fearsome, to be remembered. And on screen, he becomes more than actor, a god-king walking among men. 10. The voice of God was actually Moses. When Moses kneels before the burning bush, we hear a booming, otherworldly voice. We believe it is God, but the truth is that voice was Charlton Heston's own. Technicians took his vocal track, slowed it, added echo, layered reverb. When he speaks, it's doubled, ethereal, like voice and echo merging with flame. Moses speaking to God and hearing himself. It blurs the human and divine. A theatrical choice, a daring illusion. You feel both prophecy and vulnerability in one man. 11. The princess's seductive look sparked religious backlash. And Baxter's portrayal of Nefertari was polished, red-lipped, eyes lined dark, curves emphasized under glittering gowns. For many, it wasn't just performance, it was provocation. Conservative religious groups saw those sensual expressions as sacrilegious, saying it corrupted the sacred story of Exodus. For others, Nefertari became an icon, powerful, alluring, dangerous. The debate lit up newspapers, pushed viewers into theaters out of curiosity, outrage, or admiration. Moments designed for spectacle became ground for moral debate. 12. A white figure appeared in the desert, then vanished. Extras whisper it. Crew tell the stories in hushed tones. In the shimmering heat across the dunes, amid costume tents and oak crates, someone saw a figure, white-robed, silent, standing still. No role, no name, just a presence. Then gone. The mystery spread. Ghost? Guardian? Hallucination from fatigue and sunlight? DeMille said nothing. Some embraced the lore, some laughed it off, but at night in the desert, with air heavy and feet sore, the story made the hairs on your neck stand up. 13. Moses' robe accidentally matched biblical history. Costume designer selected Moses' robe for Technicolor impact, red, black, and white. The colors contrast, they dramatize, they stand out. But years later, scholars realized something uncanny. Those colors aligned perfectly with descriptions of the ceremonial garb of the Levite priests in ancient Israel. Not by conscious design or religious consultation, just a happy accident, if one believes in luck, or perhaps something more, if one believes in synchronicity. To audiences, Moses wore red, black, and white, but to history, Those were the robes of his tribe. 14. One actress called DeMille a filthy bald old man. On mic, in the torture beheaded the golden calf scene, extras marched, dancers twirled, sweat-stung eyes, costumes weighed heavy. Hunger gnawed, lighting beat down mercilessly. In a moment of pure exhaustion, an actress, assuming her microphone was off, blurted, "When will that filthy bald old man let us eat?" Silence. Then DeMille. Then, after a pause, a command, "Lunch!" The tension cracked. Laughter erupted, shaking tents, loosening tongues. For once, the omnipotent director was just a bald old man in the sand, sharing their hunger. 15. The golden calf scene took 3 weeks to film. Imagine waking up before dawn, hours of makeup, hundreds of extras in glittering costumes, body paint, beads, music pounding, wine splashing, flames, dancers swirling, over and over, 3 weeks straight, heat crushing, voices hoarse, feet blistered. At times, people collapsed, screamed, broke down. Directors hammered for more energy, for authenticity, for madness. The filmed chaos on screen is real exhaustion, real delirium. It cost them more than filming. It drained them. Yet what we see is spectacle. What they lived through was ordeal. 16. Metallica's Creeping Death was inspired by the film. Fast forward to 1983. In a cramped room, 3 young men watching a VHS of the Ten Commandments. The death angel plague scene. Firstborn shadows mist creeping across Egypt. Cliff Burton, the bassist, stares and mutters half-heard. It's like creeping death. Silence after. Then conversation. Lyrics. Riffs. The seed of a song. Within months, Creeping Death is born. A metal song drenched in plague, in biblical fury. In concert halls, thousands chant, "Die! Die!" Feeling the film's wrath in amplified chords. A VHS, a moment of inspiration, a heavy metal anthem. 17. Over 4,000 stone tablets sparked a Supreme Court case. Upon release, Paramount and DeMille wanted the Ten Commandments to feel bigger than a film. So they funded the placement of over 4,000 Ten Commandments stone tablets across America. Parks, government buildings, courthouses, even schools. They became landmarks, photo ops, moral statements. But decades later, people asked, is this art or religious promotion? One tablet in Texas was taken to court, with arguments over separation of church and state. In 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the tablet could stay, not because it was religious doctrine, but because it had become a cultural symbol, a publicity stunt turned legal precedent. 18. Pharaoh's goblets appeared in Star Trek. After filming, many of the props, ornate goblets, wine jars, golden vessels, were boxed up and stored. Years passed. The warehouse doors creaked. Tins of bronze and silver, bowls and candelabras, remained forgotten. Then in Star Trek, The Next Generation, something odd. In scenes of futuristic feasts, astronauts raised goblets that looked unmistakably ancient. It was the same set of ornate vessels used to decorate Pharaoh's palace in the Ten Commandments. From the Exodus to warp drive, some artifacts seemed to transcend time. 19. A future music icon was just a drummer in the crowd, amid the chaos of the golden calf scene. With hundreds dancing and shouting and costumes clinking, a young extra sat in the corner, drumming in the background. No lines, no credit, name unspoken. Yet that extra was Herb Alpert. Years later, he would become famous worldwide with his band, the Tijuana Brass. Bright melodies, chart-hopping albums, Grammy wins. But it all began in that corner, behind the mayhem, his drumsticks moving with passion even when no one was looking. And that's why the Ten Commandments is more than a film. It's a myth built on muscle and madness, a production where history was honored, accidents became miracles, and legends were born from deserts, ladders, fog machines, and yes, even popcorn. So if these stories gave you chills or made you smile, share the video. Let someone else feel the hidden heartbeat behind the epic. And don't forget to subscribe, because behind every classic is a tale more unbelievable than fiction.